beginning of him learning how to shoot, and he couldn't perform because he went back. What am I saying? I'm saying that's the same way that's happening with us. When we begin to hear new ideas and new concepts and new things, somebody's coming from a point of freedom because we don't know what they know, and it's coming up against what we have been taught and trained to believe. It's more, to us, it feels safer to just stick with what I know. Because they're introducing ideas and concepts and thoughts that I'm not sure about. But just like in school, we wasn't sure about ABC 1, 2, 3 and all that, but we absorbed all of that, and now we have that training and that understanding. So do this, it's going to come back in my life and I'm going to need it. And I can tell you, there's been countless things that when he started talking to me, I said, man, I don't believe in that. I said, you can stop talking to me about it. Thank you, I just wanted to know that much. Now I see your thinking is completely different from mine. But I'm going to take what you say and I'm going to put it on the shelf. And he will tell you. I'll call him the next day as I begin to reflect on what he was saying and thinking about it. Because I'm a person that does a lot of meditation and reflecting on what was said to me. When I hear that and go over those words over and over and over and over and over again, I called him back and said, man, types of things, do this, I would do this, I would make sure this was going on. And I said, well, nobody just said, what will we do to get free and to change the system? Most of the things that we thought of was things that's within the system that we're in, and we're just going to flow with that. But if a system is broken and a system don't work, do you just supposed to flow with that system? Or are you supposed to tear it down? Now, in the book, he told Israel anytime they came into a territory or in a place of their enemy's land and they were taking it over, he said, break down their altars. Destroy their groves. Take down their high places. Take down the knowledge of whatever they were doing before. Cast all that down. Throw all that away. Why? Because we're about to do a new thing. Hallelujah. See, Abraham, did he know where he was going?
No.
But the Father didn't tell him to go to a place that he's going to show him. See, our problem is we want to know where the place is. We want to know how we're going to get there. Is that air conditioned? What kind of bed am I going to sleep on? What kind of shoes is that? What kind of food they got? What's the weather? Because we're trying to be prepared for the new. But the Father don't work like that. I wanted to know why he told me to stop playing for churches. I said, now if you tell me why not to play for churches, then I'll do it. And I'm going to see if what you're saying, why. If you ask that question, then I'll see and I'm going to judge it based on what I know. But the Father never told me why he wanted me to stop playing. All of a sudden, I obeyed it. And when I obeyed it, it wasn't until 2 or 3 weeks that the scales fell from my eyes. And I was able to understand this word from a Hebrew perspective, not even knowing that I was a Hebrew. I know hearing this. So to me, it was like a new idea, a new concept. But hadn't the Hebrews been around for a long time? But I didn't have their understanding until I stopped doing what I was doing at first. And guess what? That was hard for me to do. See, it's hard for you to stop what you always believed and known as sure ground to you. It's hard when your ground and your world start getting shaped. When your world I thought this was solid ground. But then when you start looking at it, it's crumbling underneath your feet. What we've believed and understood as truth all of our life, as the truth is that's been suppressed, is rising to the top, we're learning that the ground that we've been standing on is getting kind of shaky. The foundation of what we believed all our life is starting to shake. How do you think I felt as a preacher, as a pastor of the Word, to have been celebrating Christmas all my life, to all of a sudden find out, man, that ain't what you're supposed to be doing. Matter of fact, that's in the Bible saying that. That's so basic. I'm like, it is? Where is it at? Jeremiah chapter 2. Oh my God, it's been right there all the time. Truth hidden in plain sight. How do you think it felt when all of a sudden, yeah, who did switch the Sabbath day? I know what they told me in Bible college and everybody's doing, but man, what did the Bible really say about it? Then I said, oh, it's been right there all the time.
Yeah.
When did they do a switcheroo on me? When did they change some things around? So there was truths that I had to come and learn how to accept as truth. And then when I began to operate and have the experience of doing it, then all of a sudden I said, man, this is a good way. Remember y'all was doing Sunday? Mother would tell you that all the time. Mother's favorite saying is, when I know better, I can do better. Now, you said your husband told you for a whole year that you was a Hebrew, and she said, I didn't believe it, Pastor, until you started preaching it. Now, ain't that something? But guess what? When he told you a year ago, it was the truth then. But your experience of it was, you had to catch up with that. What he was saying, you had to catch up with it and said, man. Now, looking back, don't you wish that you could have known this when you was even a year before you? Are y'all hear what I'm saying? Are y'all hearing this? So what we have to do is, just like in a classroom, when we were youngsters in the classroom, we would hear the teacher say, that's why he calls us the children of Israel. And they asked the Messiah, Yeshua, who's the greatest in the kingdom? And he picked up that little baby, that little child, and held him up. I said, except you come as a little child, you ain't going to get in. See, what happens is we want to be the adults of Israel, and we don't want to be the children of Israel. Y'all hearing this?
Yes. That's
the truth.
Yeah.
See, you want to be an adult of Israel. No, don't tell. I'm a... that goes against... You see? Instead of being a child of Israel. That's why Moses, the Bible calls him the humblest man at that particular time. He was humble. And they were all trying to get upset with him, his sister, and Aaron. Y'all remember that story? And they said, we upset with Moses. Then they went to Moses and said, don't the Father talk to all of us? Just like he talking to you? And Yahweh heard him. And he came down in the door of their tent and said, Miriam and Aaron, get y'all butts upstairs. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about this. And it was Miriam, Aaron, and Moses. And he said in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, he said, if there is a prophet among you, I will speak to them in a dream or in a vision, but not my servant Moses. I'm going to talk to Moses face to face, like a man would talk to his friend. And then all of a sudden the cloud lifted up, and Miriam was a leper, full of leprosy. Her skin was as white as snow. And what happened? They could have left her in the wilderness a leper. But because of the mercy and the grace of the Most High, he said, just kick her out of the camp for 7 days. After 7 days, she'll be all right. If only but her father would have spit in her face when she was little, she would have learned how to obey. Are y'all hearing this?
What a blessing.
Just like that.
So she was out of the camp for 7 days because she was trying to take on a mindset and a position of authority that she really didn't know nothing about. Because the Father dealt with Moses face to face. Isn't there a difference in a vision or a dream and then dealing with somebody face to face?
Yes.
So when we're, again, in the ark and we're having a class and there's something that you don't agree with because it goes against whatever training that you received before, just take it and put it on the shelf. Just take it and put it on, because you can't say wholeheartedly, I disagree with that. You disagree on it based on the training. And who was you trained by? So you really don't know if it's true or not until you experience it. And then you'll be like, dang, I should have got that off the shelf a long time ago. And you can miss out on a great opportunity to grow in the Most High. Because the Bible says we go from faith to faith. So there's something that we're yet striving for. There's something we're yet entering into. Nobody stops and nothing escapes process. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
What y'all think about that now? When you hear things that go contrary to what you believe or you thought of, or it's a new idea, something you ain't never heard of, don't be so quick to instantly dismiss it, because you can miss out on the opportunity to grow. That's all I'm saying. And that's fair, because in school, we didn't know A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Until we sat like a child and learned it and understood it. And now we know 2 plus 2 equal what? 4. But y'all says 3 score years is what? What's a score? 20. So now you have to learn something else. That's another equation. Now, how many people know that Yah does what? Adds by what? Subtract. And he multiplies by what? Now what you gonna do with that now? You gonna say, no, that ain't it. Because I learned, the Greeks told me this is how you add, and this is how you. But now in y'all system, it's completely different from our system. So what, are we gonna go against the Creator and say, no, that's not how you do math. You don't add by subtracting. You see what I'm saying? You don't multiply by divide. No, you don't do that, y'all. It has to be this way, because this is the way I was trained, and this goes against the very core of who we are. So we have to learn how to be flexible, and we have to learn how to absorb information. And if it's something you don't really necessarily agree with, just put it on the shelf. I'm putting it on the shelf right now, because I can't totally, completely say that I disagree, because I haven't experienced that. And when people are coming from a different experience, they're going to say things that you may not understand. Don't make you a bad person because you don't understand it. And they're trying to share it with you. It don't make you a bad person. I got to put that on the shelf. I haven't walked where you walked. Have anybody been on the Bermuda Triangle before?
No.
Who's been on the Bermuda Triangle? Anybody been on the boat for 12 days before on a sailboat?
No.
So how can we go against that when we ain't never experienced it or never heard a book or saw something that had that in there?
Right.
Y'all see what I'm saying?
Yes, that's wisdom.
Yeah, so just put it on the shelf. Say, man, I haven't experienced, man, he went through that. And when you get the book, you'll understand. You're going to understand him more. Because now that I read the book, I said, man, no wonder you like that. That's what happens when you get a book. They want to write a book, you're going to have access to it. Oh, that's why, yeah, okay. Oh, that makes sense now. And when I'm reading it, it sounds like he's sitting right there with me, talking to me in it. Because I'm like, that's his terminology, yeah. I can see him say, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like when y'all hear my music, do y'all think about me?
Yes.
They're like, man, I can see Pastor on the keyboard singing, restore your laws, statutes, judgments, we return to you. Yeah, let's do that song this week, Pastor. I'll listen to that song. When Judah wakes up, hey, turn to the Most High. Right on slide and all that carrying on. You have access to me. You're like, man, this is his personality. This is his, yeah, okay, come on, yeah, let's do it. So that's what happens. So I said all that to say, Shabbat Shalom. How's that? Come on, let's stand up and have prayer.